Shalom! Today we'll see some magnificent artwork that involves the book of Psalms, and if you speak Yiddish, stay tuned for our Yiddish Bill report. Nu, so seine gute Program. Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. Yiddish, the language of many of our forefathers, is back in fashion. In the heart of the trendy metropolis of Tel Aviv, the European Jewish language is coming back to life.
Aber wir haben ein bisschen mehr gehabt. Und das war wunderbar.
You can speak in English.
It was absolutely outstanding.
After years of pushing aside Yiddish culture in Israel, the curtains are being raised for the Yiddish theater. Audiences from all backgrounds come to the Yiddish Bill Theater to take part in this flourishing culture.
The ambience was good, excellent, the acting was good, and the play was good.
One of the plays being performed at the Yiddish Bill Theater is the play The Berry Sisters. The play is based on the story of the Berry sisters who lived in the United States during the 1950s. The play addresses the schism between tradition and modernism, dreams and reality. Yiddish is a national language that was born to a nation with no state. For the Yiddish Bill's audience, Yiddish is not just a language, it's a whole culture, full of nostalgia.
I'm a survivor of Auschwitz. I was there for 2 years with Jews from Poland who spoke only Yiddish. In Auschwitz, I learned the language and fell in love with the language.
Mama Loshen, I spoke to my mother and father in Yiddish.
Yiddish is beautiful because of its attitude towards life. There's a lot of self-humor. In Yiddish, you can tell the most insulting stories about Jews that if someone non-Jewish would tell, you'd say he's anti-Semitic. This language can make fun of itself.
The founder of the Yiddish Bill, Shmulik Atzmon, sees his project as more than just a business.
If there is a future for the Jewish nation, then it must be a future for Yiddish. Because I cannot believe, I cannot imagine the Jewish nation without Yiddish.
When the curtains come down, there's one question left. Is there a future for Yiddish?
וכל הזמן אומרים, נו מתי? זה כבר עוד מעט קהל נגמר. אני רוצה להגיד לך,
Everyone always says, soon there won't be any more audience. 11 years ago, I looked at the audience from the stage and said, my goodness, these people from here will be going to the hospital, they're so old. 7 years ago, I saw more 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds, even 18-year-olds.
For 1,000 years, there is a saying that Yiddish is disappearing. It will take another 1,000 years.
There are more and more young people in the audience. I think that Yiddish is now in.
And when Messiah will come, all those Jews who come out from the grave will ask, is there a Yiddish theater in the world? They will have an address in Israel, Yiddish Bill Theater.
And now let's go from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is known for its many holy and spiritual sites. But touring Jerusalem with the right guidance can teach you that there is spirituality in almost every corner in this city. Our crew joined one of the groups that came to Jerusalem to learn about the city. Here's a short glimpse at some of the pictures they brought us. In Jewish tradition, Jerusalem is considered the most spiritual city. Even today, between all the modern buildings and developments in the city, you can hear stories of a spiritual, mystical Jerusalem. Although the northern city of Tzfat is famous for its Kabbalistic yeshivot, there are many yeshivot in Jerusalem where Kabbalah is also studied. The yearning for a fully spiritual Jerusalem can be seen even in the walls of the Jerusalem yeshivot.
The southern wall is designed like the walls of the Temple Mount. Here we could see a basalt stone painted black in memory of the Holy Temple.
Between the alleys of the Zichron Moshe neighborhood is the yeshiva of the Kabbalistic Rabbi David Batzri. Rabbi Batzri is world-renowned, and many people from around the world come to have him pray for their well-being. But the Kabbalistic spiritual side of Jerusalem not only drives the yeshivot. The interest in mystical concepts has become a common, popular trend. The book of Tehillim, Psalms, is read on so many occasions. We read Tehillim when we want to connect to Hashem, whether through sadness, gratitude, or joy. Moshe Tzvi Berger showed me his way of connecting to the book of Tehillim. "150 paintings, 7 colors of the spectrum, and a 3,000-year-old inspiration. This is the unique project created by Moshe Tzvi Berger.
In the last 16 years, I painted for each psalm a painting, finished with 150, worked just with the 7 colors of the spectrum. Each and every color has a sense.
Moshe connects to the deep ideas of the book of Psalms, Tehillim, through his paintings.
Let them give thanks unto Hashem for his mercy and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he has satisfied the longing soul, and the hungry soul he is filled with good."
This is on a spiritual level, and this is happening on a material level. And this is also a message to every mother who do it the same way, just as this bird is doing it, by feeding her own children with spirituality and with materiality.
Before immigrating to Israel as an observant Jew in 1992, Moshe Tzvi Berger painted in many countries: Romania, Italy, France, and when he lived on a boat near Florida.
Truly it is I that have established my king upon Zion, my holy mountain.
So I paint always the Hebrew letters. In each of my paintings there are all letters, and because the 600,000 Jews who went to Sinai, they each get a letter, because the Torah was written with 600,000 letters.
The Tehillim project started when Moshe approached the Lubavitcher Rebbe and showed him a survey which showed that a large percentage of the Jewish community were unfamiliar with the book of Tehillim. "Something has to be done," Moshe said to the Rebbe.
So the Rebbe told me, you do something about it. So I told him, what do I know? In the morning, I waked up, and I thought, maybe I have to paint the Tehillim, the Psalms. And from that moment on, I started to paint the Psalms.
Hashem, the heathen are come into your inheritance. They have defiled your holy temple. They have made Jerusalem into heaps. They have shed their blood like water round about Jerusalem, with none to bury them.
At the beginning of the Intifada, some terrible explosions happened, and I was inspired by the king's approach. We have to understand how important Jerusalem is for us, and that this holy city and the holy land has to be protected.
Moshe's paintings relate to the deeper meanings of the Tehillim.
I paint metaphors, strictly metaphors. I make a visual transliteration of what the king wrote.
The paintings, which are full of color and details, connect people to Tehillim, especially people who don't study Tehillim on a regular basis.
Most people, as you certainly know, they are sitting before the television and watching things, the movie, and today people want to see, because seeing is much faster. This is like a dream, it says, then we are dreaming. So from the Yud come out all the letters, surround Yerushalayim.
When Hashem brought back those who returned to Zion, we were like unto them that dream.
referendum in the Likud party regarding the evacuation of the Jewish communities in the Gaza Strip was held not long ago. Today I'd like to talk to Rabbi Samson about the concept of majority in Judaism. Shalom, Rabbi David Samson.
Shalom, Yoni. Shalom to all of our viewers.
So how does the world of Torah view the idea of a majority deciding for everyone else?
Well, it's an interesting point. When you say everyone else, it makes it sound like your majority is actually a minority. And we have a verse in the Torah that tells us, Acharei Rabim Lahatod, that you go according to the majority. There is a stipulation. What would happen in a democratic situation where the majority who are poor decide that they'll take all of the money of the rich and divide it amongst the majority who are poor? So there are obviously some things which just are not proper to be done, even though legally and democratically they're all right. Because of this, there is another contingency or another factor which we need in order to use a democracy and to go according to the majority. Rabbeinu Tam said that it's not enough to have just a majority, but you need a majority and a rabbi who will agree, or the head of the community, someone who is serious, so that you'll have a person who is moral, who will make sure that the majority don't misuse their power and just abuse the minority. So that even though we do have the rule that we go according to the majority, we also have the check that you go with the majority. However, it has to be with the consent of the wise man of the town.
But how do we look at this on a higher level? Is a decision based on a majority considered absolute truth?
Well, even if you have a majority of stores that are selling kosher food and a minority that are not, we find a piece of meat and we don't know which one it came from, we assume that it came from the kosher stores and not from the non-kosher stores, because even in such a case, we will go in accordance with a majority. This majority is considered vindicated by God, and that it is an absolute concept of truth. 100% the meat is kosher. It's not 90% kosher because there are 9 stores and one is not kosher. It is 100% kosher. A majority is seen in the halachic reasoning as attesting to the truth.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Samson.
The Weekly Insight is brought to you in cooperation with Machon Meir, the largest Zionist institute in Israel, bringing people closer to Judaism.
Bad news is there everywhere. I shut my eyes, shut my ears.
That's all for this week. It's almost summer already, so I hope you've already booked your flights to Israel. So join us again next week for another program. Until then, from all of us here at Israel National TV, Shalom.